And that's the first leg done and dusted in the Champions League. Yo, big up to everybody. Yeah, listen, we're back again. My reaction to the first leg of the quarterfinal of the Champions League. And I think all in all, there were some good displays of football. Let me not sit there and lie. There was some good football. There was some defensive displays. There was, I wouldn't say any real outstanding performances, so to speak. There was some really decent ones, I would say, if I'm being fair. But overall, yeah, listen, look, it's the first leg. Of course, teams they're going to be cautious about not trying to concede too many goals, obviously giving themselves a bit of strength heading into that second leg and things like that. But listen, man, it is what it is, man. So of course we had Sporting versus Arsenal, Bayern versus Real Madrid, Barcelona versus Atletico Madrid, and PSG versus Liverpool. All right, let's get into the first one. So first up, we've got here, as you guys can obviously see on your screens, and that is Arsenal 1-0 victors against Sporting. A last-minute winner from Kai Havertz. Yeah, if I'm being honest, I watched this game. I did watch this game. You can kind of see already, even if you didn't watch it, you can see David Raya was the man of the match. It was his brilliant save in that first half, which that was kind of really it from Sporting's perspective. Didn't really trouble Arsenal in the game. I didn't really feel Arsenal were under any level of stress. If I'm being totally honest with you, Sporting didn't really offer much going forward, but they did keep it relatively tight at the back. They kept Victor Gyökeres really quiet on his return, to Sporting. From an Arsenal perspective, I mean, it's a weird one with Arsenal, right? Because I've said this many a time when it does come to Arsenal. Like, look, the reality is fans don't care when you get to this stage of the season. All you care about is the victories. All you care about are the wins. You're just trying to get right to the end. And I get that. And I totally understand that. But ultimately, I do look at sometimes it's a weird one. It's like trying to look at the here and now, but then the bigger picture. Is there something for you to go on? And obviously, as an Arsenal fan, you're not going to care because you're just trying to get the victories and then see where that kind of leads you because all your focus is on the here and now. And I totally understand that. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not going to begrudge anybody for thinking like that. But sometimes, when you see certain things, and I'm watching Arsenal and obviously watching them against Sporting, I thought they were kind of, I wouldn't say poor, because it wasn't necessarily that they were poor, more so that it was just nothing going on. Like going forward, I would say atrociously poor. Like they were really, really bad. Didn't really create much. Wasn't really much going on. Victor Gyökeres could not get in the game at all. But again, I'm looking at that and I'm thinking, I'm not even blaming him fully, if I'm being totally honest with you, because the reality is his teammates are not actually helping the situation. They kept it comfortable, again, slow, methodical. Can I even call it methodical? Because you weren't really penetrating, pause, too much, kind of thing. We'll check the stats just because I know people love stats. Arsenal had 8 shots, Sporting had 11, 5 on target, more than Arsenal's 4, 2 big chances, 1 missed. Obviously, one of them will be the goal. Expected goals 1.33. Open play was 0.88. Yeah. Listen, you had to have just watched the game, I'll be honest with you, because it just there was just nothing going on with Arsenal. Like it was so boring to watch. Like, it was definitely the worst tie in this quarterfinal so far, in terms of just a spectacle, just if you're just someone who loves football like myself. But again, like I say, Arsenal not really going to care. You go away to a ground against a team that rarely lose there, rarely lose at home. You're not in the greatest of form. So it is really just about getting the victory. And again, like I said, I totally understand it. But sometimes I do look at these things as a bigger picture kind of thing. And we've seen Arsenal been playing kind of poorly for a very long time. Now, might be able to get you to the end of this season, 100%. You built up enough of a lead. Does that bode well going forward? I don't know. I guess it remains to be seen. From my experience and what I've seen, no, I've not really seen many teams who look kind of poor in their own general kind of play. I don't really see what happens. I don't really see good things happening to them the following season. Do you know what I mean? It's usually, you're building something. You know, your style of play, the way that your team plays, you know, all of these kind of various different things. I just feel that it's usually building towards, or it's usually building, should I say, towards something. And at the moment, I'm just not really seeing that with Arsenal. But listen, look, they kept sporting quiet. I mean, is it that difficult to do? No, but listen, you've got to do it. So yeah, they kind of just did their thing. They kind of just did their thing. So listen, big up to Arsenal. They got the victory, which is the most important thing for them. And then of course they move on to that second leg, and hopefully they'll be able, well, for their sake, should I say, they'll be able to, get that victory, and then move on to that semi-final, man. Let's head on over to the next game. All right, who have we got now? Bayern Munich, or Real Madrid versus Bayern Munich. Bayern coming up with a 2-1 victory. Like I said, I thought this would be the tie of the round just because of the star names. Was it? Yeah, it probably was. It probably was the best tie of the round. Again, you're talking about two of the biggest clubs, world football, kind of thing, with some of the players: Harry Kane, Kylian Mbappe, Elise, Luis Diaz, Vinicius Junior, Valverde, Kimmich. There's a lot of star players, within this. I would say, if I looked at all of the fixtures, I would say the player of the round probably was Elise. And I mean, out of all the fixtures, if I'm being, 100% honest, I feel like he was probably the player of the round, to be honest with you. I felt like he put a really, really good display. And I said before the game, when I did the preview, looking at it, and I said, down that side, they've got to, Real Madrid just got to be careful. Do you know what I mean? Whether you double up on him, whether your man marking him, whether whatever it is that you're going to do, you're just going to need to kind of just make sure that, you can try and keep him quiet. And listen, he's a top player. So that's going to be difficult. But ultimately, they weren't able to really do that. He was able to give the assist for Harry Kane, who obviously got his goal. And Luis Diaz obviously got on the score sheet as well. From a Real Madrid perspective, yeah, listen, they're not out of it. It's only 2-1. Can they get the victory at Bayern? Yes, I do think they can. Do I think they will? Obviously, we'll wait until that period of time kind of comes. But yeah, it was like a meaty performance from Real Madrid. I'll be honest with you. I did feel that Bayern probably could have got another goal or two potentially in this game. It almost felt like they were giving Real Madrid a bit too much respect, and that kind of annoyed me after a while. Because I was like, you don't need to give them this much respect. Like, this ain't that type of Madrid. Do you know what I mean? Like, you're probably better than them, if you're just talking pound for pound. So you could really go out there and really do your thing, but ultimately they didn't. Madrid obviously had their chances. I'm not going to say that they didn't, but I didn't feel, for me, Bayern deserved to win the game, if I'm being totally honest with you, and win the game. They did. Both had 20 shots, 9 versus 8, 4 big chances for Madrid. They missed 3 of those. Yeah, like I say, I'm looking at stats is looking at stats. It's just more to show you guys, I guess, if you didn't watch the game. But yeah, it's one of those games, again, just like the Arsenal game. You have to kind of really watch it to really understand. Bayern deserved to win it, but I'm not going to sit here and say that they were ultra comfortable within the game. I don't think it was like that, but I just felt like, nah, you deserve to win the game. I mean, you were the better team, in my personal opinion. Madrid had their moments, of course they did, but to say that you didn't deserve to get the victory, nah, I couldn't really say that, if I'm being 100% honest with you. But listen, second leg is going to be really interesting. That game is still in the balance. I think it's weird because the Arsenal game was only 1-0 to Arsenal, but I don't really feel like Sporting are going to come back and get that victory, whereas this game is really in the balance. So yeah, there's going to be quite a lot to play for, back in Germany. Let's sort of head on over to the next game. Oh God, this game just annoyed me more than anything else. Like, it was just too typical. It honestly, it was just too typical from a Barcelona standpoint. Like, you would go and lose 2-0. You know what I'm saying? Like, you would lose 2-0 to Atletico Madrid after I talked you guys up, prior to the game. I was like, nah, man, you can get at their back line. And obviously I know Al-Kabasi obviously got himself sent off like a clown. And then, yeah, things just, to be honest, I would say, yeah, once that happened, but I didn't feel that Barcelona were playing that well anyway prior to that. So yeah, yeah, Atletico, they definitely deserve the victory. That I can 100% say with certainty. And I think and I've seen a lot of people talking about Barcelona recently, highlighting this. I said, bro, like people worry about the wrong things when it comes to Barcelona. They're talking about a team that won how many trophies last season, got to the semi-final of the Champions League, playing that way of football. Some of the best football we saw last season was from Barcelona with some of their players and stuff like that. Lamine Yamal, effective but not effective at the same time, which was weird. Obviously, you go down to 10 men, so of course it's going to be quite difficult. But yeah, it's almost like effective but not that effective, if that kind of makes sense to people. But yeah, it was just one of them kind of games, man. I like Atletico, they're so well drilled. That's something that I took away from that, was that they're just so well drilled as a team under Simeone. They can just they got this result in them, and it's so frustrating to see. It's just the way that they kind of played and how they played in this game. Obviously, brilliant free kick from Julian Alvarez as well. But yeah, it's just the way that they played. I was just like, yeah, this is just a typical, typical performance, by Diego Simeone and Atletico Madrid. They can pull out these kind of games, these kind of performances, and in these kind of moments as well. There's going to be a lot of scrutiny on Barcelona, and probably rightly so. If I'm being totally honest with you, I don't think that they were all that great in the game from what I saw. So yes, catch 22. Obviously, I know they had the players injured. Obviously, there's no De Jong in there. Obviously, the centre back situation is such a weird one with them. I said it before the game about them having to potentially sign someone else. And yeah, listen, big up to Atletico. So far, the 3 games that I've obviously spoken about now, I would say in all of those games, all the teams that won, they all deserve to win. I put the Arsenal one, I'm still kind of a bit iffy about. I'll be honest with you. Like, if you had to pick a winner, I would have picked Arsenal. But to say you fully deserved it, I don't know, man. I don't feel like you did enough for me to say, yeah, you warranted winning the game, if that kind of makes sense. But listen, won the game, they did. But in the other games, 100%, I feel like the teams kind of did deserve it. Um, now the last game. Yeah, I know I saw some crazy score lines for this. Predictions, should I say? Some people saying it'll be like 5-0 to PSG, and I said 3-1 to be fair. So 2-goal cushion. Obviously, they got that in this game. Liverpool set up obviously with like 3 at the back with the 2 wing backs in Kirkes and Frimpong. They weren't really defensive in this game, really, really defensive. A bit like if you can think back to the game against Arsenal at the Emirates Stadium, where they were very defensive, didn't really offer anything going forward. This was the exact same. As a team, I don't think that they were poor. Like, I didn't watch it and think Liverpool were crap in that kind of sense, right? Going forward, obviously, yeah, they were rubbish. But just in a general sense, I didn't feel like, you lot are so dead kind of thing. It was just, you just offered nothing. Like, you were just there. Like, you were literally just a participant kind of thing. Like, it was just almost like training. Yeah, that's probably the best way I can describe it. Is it was almost like a training drill, attack versus defense. We're gonna sit in this formation. We're gonna try and stay resolute, and you guys are gonna have to try and break us down. So yeah, that's kind of the way that I kind of saw it. I felt Konate had a really poor game down that right-sided centre back position. Didn't feel like he played well at all. Felt like they were getting in behind. He was constantly trying to press and things like that. Ekatike and Wirtz, I thought they were absolutely poor. In fact, midfield, Gravenberg and McAllister, I didn't even realize they were even still there. I'll be honest. Like I said, it just felt like Liverpool were just like cones, but like human. So they were just there. They were literally just a participant within the game, and it was just more about PSG. What can you do to break this down? Like Luis Enrique set up a training drill and said, "Listen, guys, we're going to set up like this because when we come up against teams like this, we need to figure out a way that we can play against these type of teams." And in that second half, man, they had about 3 chances. Remember the Mendes obviously chance where Hakimi's obviously played it across. You had the cutback from was it Kvaratskhelia to Dembele, who skied it over. And then you had the Dembele shot, which was in the first half. Sorry, I apologize. In that first half, where Dembele probably should have slot home. So again, I say you add on, but there's 3 more chances there for PSG, where usually they're ultra clinical, and they just weren't. Now, whether that's a good omen for Liverpool, obviously being 2-0 down is never a good omen, but whether that could be something for Liverpool going forward, obviously it remains to be seen. But yeah, it's interesting that it's only 2-0. What that then means going into the home game against PSG. How does Liverpool set up? What's Arne Slot going to do in that game? I'm very intrigued. But yeah, PSG, I mean, there was only one team who deserved to win it. There was only one team who came to win it, and that was PSG. Of course, they got that lucky deflected first goal. I get it. But yeah, I mean, Liverpool didn't offer anything whatsoever. So yeah, I didn't feel like it was one of those kind of games. I mean, 3 shots in the entire game is crazy work. That's real bad. That's real bad. But listen, it is what it is, man. Liverpool head into, I think the next game is against Fulham, maybe. But if we're just talking primarily just about the Champions League, do I think that they can make it through? I think heading in second leg, obviously I'll do a preview before those games anyway. But heading into the second leg, I think Liverpool got some work to do. Barcelona got some work to do. Sporting, I just don't see. But listen, they could shock me. And it's really only the Madrid game is the only one I look at and think, that one, Madrid could come back in that one. Do you know what I mean? Like, they're not completely out of it. Now, not obviously 2-0 score lines. I'm not saying you're out of the game, because anything can change first 10 minutes, you score a quick goal, etc., etc. But they didn't perform well, Barcelona and Liverpool, in these games. And if it goes anything like that, or if the Atletico or PSG perform to somewhat of a decent enough level, in my opinion, I feel like it's just going to be one of those games where you just need to do enough. You know what I mean? You don't need to do too much. You just need to do enough. So, yeah, we'll wait and see. We'll wait and see, man. But guys, give me your thoughts in the comment section in regards to the games. What were you happy with? Which game do you think was the best game? Who was the player of the round? I'm giving it to Elise. I thought he was really, really good in that Bayern versus Madrid game. But yeah, leave your thoughts in the comment section, peeps. And I'll catch you guys real soon. Peace.